Have you ever seen those lists on the internet that's like top 5 sandwich toppings, top 5 movies of the year, top 5 celebrities who have a very punchable face? You know what I'm talking about. The point is, all these lists drive us crazy because we have no idea who made them and how they even narrowed down their top 5 list. That's where my podcast comes in. My name is Tung La, and I am the host of Ranked, top 5 lists of stuff that don't matter. In every episode, with the help of a motley crew of self-proclaimed experts, we debate, battle, and work together, showing you the entire process of how we got there, to create a top 5 list of any and every topic we can think of, like top 5 brunch menu items, top 5 fictional dogs, top 5 90s songs, top 5 Steves? The list goes on, and we will not rest till we rank basically everything. So join us every second Thursday in the Pod Cavern for Ranked, top 5 lists of stuff that don't matter.
Top 5, top 5, top 5.
Hi everyone, I'm Tung.
I'm Sam.
I'm Laura.
And I'm Brad.
And this is
Disney Dummies.
Hey everyone, it's Disney Dummies. Cross Pixar pals, and I'm going to talk on this podcast like this for the rest of the show. How does that sound?
I've never been less attracted to you.
Gosh, Tung, that sounds real nice.
Someone do a Donald. Do we have the entire? Wow, Brad, what can you do? What's your impression here?
Just be silent and be Pluto.
Yeah, woof. There you go.
Woof, woof. Hello, woof. Everybody. Welcome to an extremely special episode of Disney Dummies, cross Pixar pals, cross Pixar shorties, cross Disney homies, cross Disney readies, cross Disney theeties. Everything.
Whoa.
Everything. This is actually pretty insane to just even be saying these words out loud, but this is like our kind of farewell episode, if you will. It's not a full farewell, I'll say that off the top. I've been saying that a few times now, but it's like an end of an era type of situation. And how's everyone feeling about that? Sam, Laura, Brad, how are you feeling?
I gotta say, when we just did the Disney Dummies, I was like, oh no. It's emotional.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit sentimental today. It's hard to believe that after 5 years, I guess 4 years.
No, it's 5. It will be 5.
Well, 4 years of time have passed. But this is the 5th year in which we're recording.
I don't know.
I got to be technical about it if we're going to be technical about it.
I don't know how time works.
But no, wait, you're right. It is 5 years.
It is 5 years. What are you talking about? Okay. I always default to Laura, like knowing that she's right all the time. But as of this recording, she's still pregnant. And I feel like I'm finally the smarter one in the relationship.
Wow. I take great offense to that.
Brad, how about yourself? Are we finally going to get an emotional Brad? Maybe a single tear, perhaps, on this episode?
Does Brad even have emotions?
You never know. Maybe this time. But yeah, it's been an interesting journey. It definitely feels a little bit odd. I feel like, there's been so many movies is what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
The amount of movies.
Like, what movie did Brad come in at?
Oh my gosh. Well, I guess we can kind of go down memory lane, which is what I wanted to do in the first place here. But before we even talk about when Brad came in here, I want to talk a little bit about the history of this show a little bit.
Disney Dummies PB.
What does that mean?
Pre-Brad.
Oh, I was like, personal best? Peanut butter? Yeah, so this podcast, for those of you who don't know, came from, and this is a lot of this episode, is because we kind of deserve to have a self-indulgent episode.
Yeah, let us talk about ourselves.
Not just about the movies. I want to talk about the Disney Dummies journey because it's been 5 years. Insane. But it started in 2020 when the pandemic started. I got the exact date here. Our first episode was May 6th, 2020.
Oh.
And I look back at those times because those were like very, very early pandemic times. The pandemic just happened. And a lot of people were looking for like an outlet of what to do. Pod Cavern existed already. I've been doing a lot of ranked episodes at that point. But I know I wanted to do something with Sam creatively. That was kind of like the beginning idea of this. I'm like, well, Sam and I have a lot of shared interests, and an easy thing we could talk about is either The Simpsons or Disney. And so I approached Sam, and Sam was really quickly down for the idea of just like, oh, well, we have nothing better to do. We have to stay home and not interact with people. So I guess I'll hang out with you, Tung. And I forget what exactly happened, because this show was originally supposed to be just Sam and I. But like very quickly, before even the first episode, it was very clear that Laura should have been part of this as well. Do you remember, Laura?
I remember you talking about this with Sam, and I was like, yeah, cool. That sounds great. And then one day you were like, you should join us too. And I was like, little old me? A podcast? I couldn't possibly.
I think at that point too, you were just watching Disney movies in bed.
Oh, yeah. Actually, that was a thing early in the pandemic. I would put on like one of the late 90s, like I'm thinking Tarzan, Mulan, Pocahontas, Lilo and Stitch, and just fall asleep watching those on my phone. Because this was also early days of Disney Plus too.
Oh,
so it was a
yeah.
novelty to be able to do that. Yeah.
It seems like forever ago, honestly. But yeah, then it was very clear that you should have joined the podcast too. Obviously, it just made sense. We live together. It'd be very easy for you to join the podcast.
I was going to be in the same room while you were recording it.
Yeah, that's why it's madness that Brad didn't join sooner. I guess.
We just weren't too sure about
We weren't
Brad.
too sure about Brad yet. But Sam, how about yourself? What is your memories from the beginning days of Disney Dummies here?
I feel like I come at it from I think about like the art, because I was immediately in charge of doing the art for the podcast, and I remember being like a little intimidated at the beginning, and I remember like, am I gonna have a through theme to these? Like, is there is there any rhyme or reason to what I'm doing right now? And am I experimenting? Am I not? Am I like, where am I going with this? So I remember kind of the like excitement about that. But I honestly, I feel like maybe this is just COVID brain too, though. But like, I don't remember much else. Like, I don't remember. I do kind of remember Tung and I talking about wanting to do something, and I remember being like, well, not Simpsons. It's been done to death. Like, I feel like there's podcasts that do this already,
And nobody's ever done Disney.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's true too. But yeah, I think I was probably excited. I'm trying to think of and I know we'll get into this much later, but like where my relationship with Disney was at then versus now kind of thing. And and I feel like in 2020, like, I don't know how stoked I was. I feel like they were already starting to be like this corporate overlord that I wasn't super into, but I was also not like super against them either. I don't know. I still had the nostalgia, but I don't feel like it hit as... I feel like I have this weird relationship with Disney in general, where everyone always like associates it with me. They're like, Sam, you must love this, or like, Sam, Disney. But it's like, I don't know. My relationship with it is more complicated than that. I'm not a...
As an animator, you probably know a lot more about the inner workings of Disney animation studios than I'm certain you know more than the average person, which would
and coming out of school, I was a huge fan. Yeah, for sure.
And I think that
there's like the nerding out of the craft versus the movie and the nostalgia.
That's like a really key thing about Disney Dummies, is that I feel like it's not we're Disney fans in many ways. I would say we still are. Yeah. I mean, the relationship is complicated, but this podcast came from a shared love of these films that like shaped us growing up. Like, you can't get around that. Like, these are the films that we grew up with. These are the lessons that we learned. These characters, like, if you just take these movies in the vacuum, they have taught us life lessons in these stories and all these like beautiful things about growing up as Disney, with like that rose-colored glasses, as being a kid and all that stuff. And then later, of course, you learn about like the corporate overlords of Disney and how that messes things up. But like, I think that's like the beautiful thing about Disney Dummies, is that we always treated it with the care and attention and critique of being Disney fans that love all this stuff, but also being very critical about like the things that were bad about Disney films. Like we talk about it through, like, even from the beginning stuff from Snow White, and moving on till now 2025, we rip it apart if we need to, and we celebrate the things that need to be celebrated, which I think is very different than just being like a Disney fan podcast where we're like, here's Snow White. Oh, it's amazing. Oh, this was amazing. This was amazing. And just only celebrate the good stuff. Yeah.
I think it was cool to do them all in order too, because that was just a new experience. Like as much as I've watched all these movies plenty of times, and like most of them at least once, not all, but never have I sat down to do it in like the release order.
Yeah.
And that did get less exciting as we kind of get to the now times where we're not really doing much experimenting anymore, especially Disney. But at the beginning, it was really cool to watch just the craft evolve, and like the pencil and paper to the inking methods to like just the way that they changed what they were doing and were always trying to one up themselves from the last thing that they did. And I thought that was a really cool new way to take in the films.
Because it forced us to watch movies that we definitely did not want to watch. Or rather like...
Or had never been inclined to watch before.
Never been. It wasn't like I didn't even know what we were going to get into, but I knew it was not going to be like my favorite thing. We always like very early on in Disney Dummies, we always joked about the what was it, like the 6 movies that were just kind of like, you know, fun and fancy free, Melody Time, those types of movies.
It's wild that those were part of it in hindsight, especially having just come off of the home video train. It's like as if those were just part
those
of
are in the
these
same category as Lion King, Beauty and the Beast. Yeah.
And I think that's like amazing that we did that too, because without this podcast, we never, I would never have watched that stuff like by choice.
No.
Like, why would I? It's like, it's so dated. And yeah, it's interesting on an academic level, and we do talk about it, but like watching it, even though they're like so short, feels like 3 hours going through it.
Well, and I think they also like, it's an interesting look back, like when we talk about the chronology of the films and how they may have like not necessarily reflected the time, but been impacted by the time in which they were made. Like those films were all made during wartime. So Disney was looking to save money, and it was easier to do shorts and just package them together. We're not in wartime quite now. But like, you know, decades from now, are we going to be looking back and going like, oh, sequels, that's when like, you know, America and so much of the world was going through recession after recession and like political instability, and hopefully we'll be on the other side of that, and Disney will be back to more original content. But yeah, I guess like what is that future lens on our current times and Disney's more recent releases going to look like?
And I think we're already starting to see it. I mean, we shit on Moana 2 all the time. But I mean, I feel like Moana 2 being like this show that then got moved to being their theatrical release. And then also with this new Freaky Friday 2 sequel, like that was supposed to be a straight to Disney Plus stream as well, and now it's getting a theatrical release. And it's like clearly they're in like a transitional period, figuring out
banking on nostalgia and all that stuff. I want to give Brad an opportunity here because he is in a very unique position. Well, I'll say like from Laura and I, when we went through Disney Dummies, watching all of the movies, like we were silent a lot of the times.
We couldn't discuss them.
We would watch the movies and like be like, save it for the cast, save it for the cast. Try not to like laugh, try not to give away our hand before like talking about it on the podcast, which was made for a very interesting experience. But for Brad and Sam, for so much of a good chunk of Disney Dummies, like that run of it, you two were freely able to speak, and then at one point the switch turned, and then you ended up like us. So
it was hard.
Yeah, Brad, I want to talk about that with you because like you weren't on those early podcasts, but you went through the journey. You actually watched like 99% of the movies.
Yeah, I watched almost all of them with Sam, and the ones that I didn't watch I'd already seen before, but I had to like, I don't know, work or something. But yeah, it was enjoyable for me because I didn't have to think about how I would
write summaries.
Yeah, I didn't have to like do summaries or like think of hot takes or who fucks or anything like that. I could just
you don't have to put too much brain power into that segment. That just comes to you.
But yeah, so I can't remember how much we really talked during them because I know Sam obviously had to like hold her best thoughts for later, but I do remember like discussing the movies or just having the ability to be like, oh, that's really cool, or especially because we both seen a lot of those movies so many times, like not that we like talked over the movies, but it felt like we could talk during the movie a little bit, which was very much not the case when I came on. And then it was like we didn't even want to look at each other because that would give away too much information.
I appreciate
but yeah, I
that
think
you did that. That's saving it for the cast. Like, I love that.
yeah, and yeah, I was trying to remember when it was that I came on. It was pretty late into
Yeah,
the Disney movies.
You did some bonus episodes, not bonus, but like you came in as a special
Yeah,
guest.
guested on a few Disney Dummies episodes.
I want to say Tarzan for sure.
Was Tarzan the
Treasure
first?
Planet.
Treasure Planet.
Oh, Treasure
I think I did.
Planet.
I think Tarzan was the first one I was on. Yeah.
Did you do Black Cauldron or something like that?
No.
Were
I
you-
don't think so.
Okay,
I wasn't in on any of the early ones.
And
I was
then-
around, and I mean, like Sam and I were living together, so I would hear her on the cast, and I'd be like playing video games or something, and I would hear her talking
Right.
about the movies.
Sword in
So it
the
was like I was
Stone?
there the whole time. I just
Yeah.
didn't have a mic.
Right, exactly. Sword in
You
the
had me
Stone.
muted.
Like I remember, at least Sam told us how much you love Sword in the Stone, but I can't
Oh, yeah.
remember if you like just came in for a second and was like, "Sword in the Stone is the best." But I don't know. I don't remember.
I
Maybe,
think
yeah.
it wasn't until Tarzan that Brad made his first appearance.
But then, like permanently, Brad became like an official member of Disney
Yeah.
Dummies. When does anyone actually remember? I know we.
I think Brad joined us. He might have joined us for Toy Story, but then not Bug's Life, and then Toy Story 2. Or was
What?
it?
Yeah.
Did you join for
Something-
Bug's Life?
Whoa!
No,
he
it was
wasn't-
something like that. It was messy in the beginning, and then
Yeah.
you were jumping back and forth between Pixar and Disney.
Oh,
I think I was
Like with
on
Strange
Just
both.
because Strange
Yeah.
World came out.
Oh,
hey, you got it right, Sam.
Yeah, usually say Strange Planet.
You guys said it first, so it was easy that time.
I feel like maybe Bolt was like around that area was like I'm looking at the list of them now.
When he joined us more frequently.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
In
been
any
so
case,
long.
Yeah, I think it was such a big. I can't believe it took so long because it felt like you've been with us the entire time, and I really do mean that, Brad,
Yeah.
because like Laura, Sam, and I, like we talked about, I guess, all of that stuff without you, and when I think about Disney Dummies as a whole and Pixar Pals as a whole, like I see you the entire way.
Yeah.
Which I mean, it's a testament of how much it feels like this whole group, like myself, Laura, Sam, and Brad, like we balanced each other out in discussing about these movies because like obviously we're gonna miss some stuff as we're talking about it, but like I feel like we've always done a good job like filling in the other details when some of us like misses something, right?
Well, and Sam also photoshopped Brad in, so that was helpful.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
In the Pixar Pals artwork?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
For you, Sam, like how did it change for you when I came on? Because like obviously we could talk a bit about it, but like was it different for you?
I agree with Tung. I mean, it feels like you were kind of always there. And I feel like also before you came on, I would like talk to you about the movie and things that I would then go to bring up on the cast. So it's like I didn't have to save it for the cast. So it was kind of like the second time almost talking about some things where I'd be like, oh, you know, Brad and I were discussing and blah, blah, blah. So it's like I was basically just like giving your thoughts and feedback for you because
True.
you were there.
I do think
So-
like the added, because like I think like a wonderful thing about having Sam and Brad on the podcast is that like they are actual animators. They know
Yeah.
what they're talking about when it comes to those things, and they have a very big passion in just art in general. And so it kind of added like a professionalism to this podcast that didn't exist
For
before.
sure, yeah.
Because like I think Laura, I'm just going to speak on behalf of us two for a second, but we like to think about movies in an educated way. I think we like to thoughtfully think about stuff, but we don't.
Sometimes.
Yeah, for a lot more than like the average person, I would say. But Brad and Sam know stuff beyond what the average person
Yeah.
would say, and I think that's
Give us a new appreciation for so much of how these movies are made. And also, I think it was great for shining a spotlight on some of the really impactful figures in Disney animated film history.
Laura, do you remember any of the terminology we taught you over
I
Disney
remember
Dummies?
rotoscoping. I remember Mary Blair. I remember, oh shit, who's the guy who did the Beast?
Oh, that was a big name.
Well,
Yeah, okay.
He's
So this isn't
a
him,
legend.
but Eric Goldberg did the
biggest legend.
genie, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Before him was
GK.
I knew it was a G. It's not
I'm
George.
going to give you his first name.
It's not Greg.
Glenn.
Glenn Keane.
Glenn Keane.
There you go.
Sorry, Glenn. I deeply apologize.
But I mean,
yeah, Glenn
these-
Keane. Yeah,
These are names we wouldn't have really known as just like we were fans,
Yeah.
but we're not looking into that stuff in that way. So
Yeah,
it was a
exactly.
cool, eye-opening experience, like watching these with Sam and Brad. And like every episode we watched, they would talk about the animation angle and be like, I think I appreciate the way I look at like animated films more because of this
Yeah.
podcast,
Yeah.
right?
Riggs.
Riggs.
Well, yeah,
Bee
because
Gees.
like I would hear Sam talk about the early Disney movies, much like she was saying, like the art side of it and the progression of the
Yeah.
art style and technology. But when I came on for the Disney movies, everything was kind of like set, and there wasn't really that much new stuff really
Yeah.
happening. It was just like, yep, animation looks good.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do? I did really enjoy that, my part on Pixar Pals for the animation stuff, because it was early Pixar and
Right.
like
Yeah.
getting to read about the technology and the evolution of it. And much like early Disney, early Pixar, they were like reinventing things like every episode, every movie, and
So much is changing.
really
so
like
fast.
pushing themselves and just reading about the technology and how like little nuggets of their technology would become industry standard, even for people like Sam and I that are like in 2D TV animation, but like stuff that they did. And like, I thought that was all very interesting
Yeah.
for me, at least. Yeah.
I would say, like, in retrospect, too, just looking at Pixar versus Disney when we did both runs, is that, like, Pixar, the way the exponential growth and from movie to movie, I feel like we did, like, I don't know, 8 episodes of Pixar Pals, and then boom, they just suddenly were like, oh, everything's good. But like
Yeah.
We figured it out.
Disney, it took them a while. Like even going back to Bolt, you mentioned Bolt earlier. Like if you look
Yeah.
at Bolt now, like I mean, it looked good for the time, but like it was going up against like way bigger, like against Pixar stuff. Like didn't even compare, right? At that time, and it was just it's incredible how much the technology has grown.
Yeah.
And like Bolt was like episode or like movie 47, 48 around that area, right? Like that's a lot of movies to get in.
And the first few Pixars weren't even Disney yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, wild.
Steve Jobs was in on that.
Yeah, crazy. So, doing this podcast together, has your opinion on these movies as a whole changed at all? Like, just like when you think about some of these movies, do you have a greater appreciation of some of them? I think, like, to a level, all of us probably have a better appreciation than we did before going through this entire journey. But, like, do you feel like there are movies that you're like, oh, yeah, like, you know what? This movie ain't so bad kind of thing.
I have one. There was one movie that I was very wrong about. This is, first of all, a movie that for some reason in my memory was not a Disney movie. But then when we started this podcast, I realized that it was and I had to eat my words.
Can I guess what it was?
Yes.
Oliver and Company.
It was not that, Brad.
Oh.
Good try.
Oh, can I guess?
Good try.
Actually, I'll let Sam guess. Sam, you want to guess?
It would be appropriate if you guessed, Sam.
Oh.
Oh, a little. Oh my goodness. You're giving her hints?
That hint made me more confused. So
Oh. Sam, look over your shoulder.
Uh,
Lion King 2?
I have an
No?
idea.
Damn
Can I
it.
guess? Can
Okay.
I guess?
you can guess.
Is it The Rescuers?
It's not the rest.
Damn.
that's what I thought, but then I was like, no.
It's one of
Black
Sam's
Cauldron.
favorites.
Black Cauldron.
It's what? Great Mouse Detective.
Great Mouse Detective.
Oh shit!
We got there.
Because I was really scared of this movie as a kid, and
Radican.
yeah, and I never would have watched it again by choice, but watching it again as an adult, like I understand why I was scared of it, but I also can now recognize, I mean, it is still spooky. It's a great movie. It is a really underrated one.
I
You
like
didn't
that.
realize that one was Disney for a while?
Yeah, I always insisted to people that it wasn't.
Well, I mean,
probably because I didn't like it.
It's such a weird movie because it is Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in mouse form.
His name is Basil.
Yeah, Basil
Wait.
Baker Street. I know.
Yeah.
I know. Sam, Brad, is there any movies that when we went through this, journey together that you're happy that you watched it and you've grown a bigger appreciation for it?
I don't know. I already appreciated all the ones so much. I guess, I mean, I always like the old ones. I think I always they are slower and storytelling has just changed so much from obviously the 50s. So I feel like I'm never super drawn to go back to like the Cinderellas and the Snow Whites because I'm like, oh, they're kind of slow and boring. But then as we watch them, the art direction in them is so good. And I think that is attributed to like Mary Blair and people of their time. But like the stylistic choices and stuff that they were doing with colors back then, I just think is really cool. And I maybe wouldn't have, as much as I know these movies are pretty and this and that, I think going and revisiting those did give me a new level of appreciation for those ones.
Yeah. Yeah. How about yourself,
Yeah.
Brad?
I would agree. I think going back and rewatching them all, because yeah, a lot of these, there was a few I'd never seen, like the three
Caballeros?
Yeah, that one I'd never seen. So there was a handful, but a lot of them I hadn't watched in quite a while. But I had really fond memories of, which I feel like by the time I came on, it was all newer movies, and I was like, I don't know, I don't have any nostalgia for this stuff. But I think a lot of the older movies, it's almost a double-edged sword because like some of them I would say I like less now because they're just very dated.
Right.
But
Sure.
I also appreciated the artistry behind it more now. So it was kind of like flipping a switch for a lot of them. Like Sam brought up like Sleeping Beauty or Bambi or Fantasia. Well, Fantasia, I've definitely watched a bunch. But like those movies, which I wouldn't personally go back and rewatch, then rewatching them, like I really appreciated the art style of them all and the story of them.
You're
But
not going to rewatch Bambi?
probably
Maybe
not.
Bambi
no.
too.
Yeah, but the one that sticks out to me personally is Ichabod Crane and Mr.
Mr.
Toad.
Toad. Oh, that's
Uh,
interesting.
Because this was back in when I was in like, I don't know, like grade 3 or something. I was like pretty young. We watched it in class, and I had actual nightmares for like weeks about the Headless
You
Horseman.
watched that in class? Whoa.
Yeah. And I never watched it again because it like traumatized me as a
Yeah.
child. And then watching it again, I was like, oh, this ain't so bad. Headless Horseman's still very creepy.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't have nightmares, but I was like, oh, okay, I can appreciate this.
Just gotta
a little
run
bit
across
more.
the bridge, Brad, and then you're good. That's all
Yeah.
you gotta do.
But yeah, I think honestly, most of the Disney movies have a lot of redeeming qualities. I would say there's some, yeah, like I'm just looking at a list here, like the Aristocats. I wouldn't say I dislike it now by any means, but I remember loving that movie when I was younger and watching it over and over and over. And then now watching it, I was like, well, I still liked it, but I was like, I feel like I shouldn't have rewatched this, and
Bit
I'd
of a
rather,
weird story.
Is it the
I'd rather have that
problematic
memory.
Siamese cats that did
Yeah,
it for you?
yeah, that was a big part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like each movie kind of has a little bit like that, but there's a lot of charm. Like the early Disney stuff, especially. I mean, I say early, but up until like basically Home on the Range, there's a lot of charm in
I'm trying to forget about Home on the Range.
It's a real
yeah, that's
marker.
the one that I still feel the same about that I did when I first saw it, that it is not good.
Yeah. I have a small list here. And so for me, like, I think I already kind of said this, but like going through all of these movies, even the bad ones, having to go through this in chronological order and not missing one is such a fun task to do because you're like, oh God, here we go, Home on the Range. That's a bad example, but like let's say Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad or whatever it is, or Black Cauldron, Aristocrats, Oliver and Company. Like it's cool to go back to these films, some of them I've never seen before, and then like try to find stuff that I do like about it. Like what are the redeeming qualities of this movie? Like it might not hold up entirely, but when you're watching that, like sometimes we went on a string of bad movies. Sometimes
yeah.
like, especially Laura, Sam and I, like at the very beginning, we're like, oh my God, only like 3 more of these movies.
Yeah.
And then we're going to hit like Beauty and the Beast or something like that. Like it was a slog in some parts, but like
Yeah.
looking back on it, nostalgia wise, I'm so happy when we went through those moments together because when you're in the thick of it, you are trying to find the things that are good about the movies. Or if you don't like it, we get to talk about what we don't like about it. And that's kind of fun too, right?
You need the lows to feel the highs.
That's
Yes.
it. That's
You
it.
need
And there was
winter to appreciate summer.
a lot of lows back in the day. So for myself, like I think of course, like some of the golden age stuff is untouchable still, even going back to it. When I was looking through the entire list of everything we've done for this podcast, I'm like, of course Aladdin's good. Of course Hercules is good. Mulan, Emperor's New Groove.
Technically, that's not the golden age.
Okay, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast. All that stuff is still holds up quite well, and I still, those are like untouchable. And then like when we get to Pixar, it was like, of course Toy Story is good, WALL-E's good, Up's good, whatever. But when I think about the early Disney Dummy stuff and just going through these are the movies that like surprised me, and now I feel like I have a bigger appreciation to them than before going through this journey with you all. So I agree, Cinderella is one of them. Is like, I think now when I look back at Cinderella, because Cinderella is a movie that I was like, I don't want to watch Cinderella again. Why would I? Cinderella, like, who cares? But now I think of the Cinderella of its beautiful art, A, and then B, like, I think when we watch Cinderella, and I think I said this on the Cinderella 3 episode, that like, it's actually like way better than what I think it is.
It's a really strong story.
Yeah.
It's slow.
Yeah.
You could say it's beautiful but boring, but it's actually like when you compare it to some of the other stories that we watched.
They do a lot more filler stuff in the early days, which we mentioned on the cast at the time, but there's just like bits of her chasing the dog around the farmyard, and that's like a 10-minute bit of the movie where like we don't really linger on that shit as much anymore.
No, you're right. But I still, like, when I look back at Cinderella, I'm like, yeah, Cinderella, way better than I remember. Rescuers is one, and you can go back on the tape on this one, is that like, man, like I remember Laura and I not being so hot on the first Rescuers, and like Sam calling us crazy people. But as
I was shook. I think I have that written down. I have this written down as one of my most memorable moments, because I was like, what do you mean you guys don't like this movie? What the fuck is happening?
The cave scene was so upsetting.
It's so much darker
It's all I can
than
think,
so much of the other Disney movies.
It's so good.
But the music in it is amazing. Like, I feel like it's different from every other Disney movie in the way it
Medusa's
uses
animation.
music.
Very moody.
And it is beautiful, too.
And then I think about Rescuers Down Under and that hot mouse.
Oh, yeah.
Jake, I think it is.
I forgot about Jake.
A Great Mouse Detective as well. Oliver and Company, I always liked, but then like rewatching it, I'm like, yeah, I really like Oliver and Company. I think he's such a cool dog. Such a good song. That movie gets by on that one song so well. Like,
absolutely.
Why should I worry?
Yeah.
It really is the eye to eye of its time.
Sure. Yeah, I can see that.
Sam is still singing that every once in a while,
Amazing.
by the way.
Oh, it's amazing. And stand out.
Yeah.
So good. Atlantis, I think I was never that big of a fan of, but knowing that like, Sam and Brad like Atlantis so much, and Sam has like a huge crush on Milo. Like, I was just like, something about it, like, because you guys loved it so much, it kind of rubbed off on me. And I'm like, you know what? Like, Atlantis is pretty good. Treasure Planet, same thing. Treasure Planet is a movie I don't even remember if I saw it before.
So good.
It's got that Goo Goo Dolls song in it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Treasure Planet. I remember when you guys there's definitely not being on the cast. There was some that I was just like, oh, I can't wait till you get to this so I can watch it.
Brad is our biggest fan.
And Treasure Planet, I'm like, you know what? Treasure Planet, now I can say that's a good movie. I enjoy it too. Bolt, and then going into like some later stuff. Every time I think of Encanto, I think it gets better and better in my head. I'm glad we went through Elemental together, one of Pixar's latest movies, because like that movie got shat on like crazy. I remember all of us like not wanting to watch it, like vehemently being like, oh, what's Pixar doing? And then we watched it and I was like, oh, pretty
This is
good.
a rom-com. This is Pixar's first rom-com.
It was cute. It was cute.
Yeah.
Luca is another one.
Absolutely.
Love Luca.
That's another
Our
one.
3-hour podcast.
Still the longest one.
Still the
We
longest
couldn't
one.
stop singing its praises.
Good Dinosaur. Like I don't think I don't love the Good Dinosaur story as much, but like I now think of Good Dinosaur in the way that it's like an animation achievement. That's how I think of Good Dinosaur now. Thanks to you guys.
I just
Would
think of
you
that
say-
handprint.
Would you say it left its mark on you?
There it is.
I would say
That's the joke.
get me a silo. Is it a silo? What is it? It's like
It's like
It's
a
a
corn
silo.
tower.
Yeah, it's like
And the other one, I don't know why I saved this to last. It doesn't deserve to be the last one I talk about here. But Meet the Robinsons is another
Yeah.
one that, I had zero. I did not need to watch Meet the Robinsons before doing this podcast. And then coming away from it, I remember my memory of it is that like hey, it's kind of fun. I like this
Yeah.
Goob guy, this Waluigi.
Goob!
Yeah, Goob.
And that,
I feel like
oh, go ahead, Brad.
I was gonna say I feel like that's one when Sam was coming up to it. I don't think you were super excited about that one. Were you, Sam?
I've never seen it before.
Yeah,
That
and
was
I
one of
remember-
my only firsts. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember being like, "Oh, it's like actually pretty good." I mean, it's no Lion King or something, but I remember being like, "No, that one's actually quite good." Same with Bolt and
Yeah.
Chicken Little is
That's the other one I was
not-
going to
Chicken
mention.
Little.
Yeah. I watched
Even
Chicken
Chicken Little's
Little with some friends' kids over the summer who were, I think they would have been like 4 and 7 at the time. And it's such a great movie to watch with kids. Like
I can see
they
that.
don't care about the animation
Yeah.
in the same way or how it's dated or that sort of thing. It's just a fun, silly movie that has a really nice relationship at the center of it. Or maybe not a nice, but a complicated relationship that has a nice story. But it's funny, Meet the Robinsons is another one that I'd scribbled down as like one that was unexpectedly good to me. And it was that one, Oliver and Company and Chicken Little, were I think the 3 that I hadn't seen before that I was like, oh, that was pretty good. But Meet the Robinsons came up last week. I was talking to someone at work who's developing a workshop on failure resumes. And I was like, oh, this is like Meet the Robinsons. He's like 20 years younger than me. And I'm explaining, I'm like, it's this Disney movie.
Hey, have you seen Waluigi
Yeah.
before?
But I think it's actually like the message of resilience in Meet the Robinsons is so important today that it'd be kind of nice to see it, I don't know, brought back a little bit or more people watching it.
I still think it's funny that you barely meet the Robinsons in Meet the Robinsons.
It's all goop.
It's all Goop.
Yeah, I mean the title's not Get to Know the Robinsons.
I know.
It's a great point.
Is there any other movies before we move on to the next part that you want to just quickly shout out that isn't just the obvious ones at all that stood out in your mind?
I think Black Cauldron gets a lot of hate. It's not that bad.
It's
Home on
just-
the Range is far worse than Black
yeah,
Cauldron.
for sure.
Can we say Home on the Range is like bottom
It's-
5 Disney movies for sure?
I think it's like the main dud in the
Yeah.
entire catalog.
you're right.
And I mean,
Yeah.
at least Black Cauldron has the redeeming quality of that little gremlin character.
That's right.
Sacrifices himself.
Oh yeah, holy shit, I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
You said not the obvious ones, but I'm
can
very
say it.
quickly going to say Beauty and the Beast, Tangled, and Encanto, Luca. And then as another one that's just for me, I already brought up Bambi, but I want to add Brave to the list. The music is just, it moves me in a way that I've never felt
Yeah.
with another Disney movie.
Would ya?
If you had the chance to change your fate.
I feel like that's maybe something we didn't touch on a ton in the Pixar movies, but their music is always really good. I know every once in a while we would say the music fucks, but like Sam and I have a bunch of the Pixar vinyls like on
Yeah.
record, and their music is really good. I think like Disney has songs like spoken
they're
songs
musicals. Yeah. So many
Yeah,
of them
but-
are musicals.
down. Pixar really has like the orchestral
Yeah.
Score.
corner.
Yeah.
I think a big part of that is maybe it's the fact that Pixar's had like a shorter lifespan than Disney, but their consistency with their composers, like something like 15 of the first
Michael
17 movies.
G.
Oh yeah, isn't
Michael
there?
Giacchino, Randy
Yeah, that's the
Newman,
guy.
There's
Thomas
like
Newman.
Yeah, the family of
Yeah.
composers for Pixar.
The 3 of them did, like almost all
Like
of the
so many of
first
them,
dozen
yeah.
and a half movies.
Wow. Yeah. Before we move on, Sam, anything that else you want to shout out that that you really enjoyed going through this?
Cinderella 3.
Cinderella 3. Hell yeah. Good one.
Oh
That's
yeah,
a good
the
one.
homies. I forgot about
The homies.
Those for the most part were pretty good.
Yeah, you know what? Going through Disney homies, I would say that like all of them were. I'm glad we went through the journey, but like I would say most of them did not hold up to the memory of them as much as I used to. Like the Aladdin 2s,
Yeah.
even 3, even Lion King 2 and 1.5. Like I still enjoy them. I do. They're part of my nostalgia. They're part of me. But like
Would you say that they live in you?
they live in me. They definitely. And they make me want to dig a tunnel. Dig a tunnel. And
I think that's like a uniquely millennial experience too, because it wasn't really until the 90s that these direct to home video releases started coming out, and then they stopped.
Yeah.
So it was really like a product of our childhood, specifically 90s kids.
for sure. I was going to say it made me want to live in Upendi. The island of Upendi. But And obviously, really fun to talk about Kovu because that's just such a fun topic to talk about. But I will say, like, going through Disney Homies, Cinderella 3 was a big surprise for all of us, I think. And like Goofy movie, like that's just a good movie, like. You know, fun for that reason alone. But I want to go to the movies that were like a little less than, you know, our favorite, let's just say, kind of the ones that we like watched and we're like, oh man, like I wouldn't watch that one again.
Well, I think the obvious answer is those 6 compilation films, which ranged from like, I think what Ichabod and Mr. Toad had just those 2 stories in it. I think there was one other one that had just 2 stories, but the others might have had like 5 or 6 of them.
Saludos, Amigos, Three Caballeros, Make Mine Music, Fun and Fancy, Free, and Melody Time. Yeah. And then I guess if you want to keep Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad as one of them.
I remember when Sam was, I mean, I was watching them too, but when you 3 were in that range, and I was just like, these are brutal. Why am I opting to sit here and watch these with Sam right now? Yeah, like I could have just left.
Shout out Johnny Fedora and Alice
Blue Bonnet.
It's true though. Even by watching those, it gave us a lot of memorable, I don't know, callbacks throughout Disney Dummies through this podcast. Like I feel like we've talked about Alice Bluebonnet a ton because we watched that. Sam, anything that you thought was like kind of a slog to go through?
Yeah, I don't know if slog's the right word. And I don't know if this is a hot take either. And this movie is pretty, and the movie does have good songs, but I just don't think I'll be revisiting Pocahontas much. I feel like that was one going into it where my nostalgia wasn't high because I feel like I didn't really care for it as a kid. Coming at it as an adult with just the baggage of colonization weighing down on us, I was like, this all feels a little bit icky to me. And even though there's things about it I really, really do like, I find it a bit cringe. So I feel like that one is hard for me, and maybe one of the ones that I don't have like the fondest.
It's a shame because the music is super good in Pocahontas. It is. Colors of the Wind slaps.
Yeah,
dude, it does. It does. And the colors are beautiful. Like visually it is a really nice story. Film. I think I'm even more tainted. Honestly, I could even maybe like forgive Pocahontas if Pocahontas 2 didn't exist. Like I feel like that's where I'm like, oh guys,
revisionist
why
history
did you quit?
Much. Yeah.
Yeah, why didn't you just stop while you were like
ahead? I don't
passable.
know.
Yeah, I don't know about ahead, but we would have just kind of
Disney Homies. Why didn't we cover it?
Because we refuse to watch any of the bad ones.
Yeah.
Brad, yourself, anything that stuck out that you're like, ugh?
Oh, yeah, I can rattle off a whole bunch.
Brad's a critic.
That I would not go back, and I mean, I would rewatch almost any of them, but like I would, I'm not a Alice in Wonderland fan.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like I'm just skimming the list. Like a lot of these.
Oh, Cars 2.
Yeah. That one. Black Cauldron. As much as I just said it's not that bad, I wouldn't go back and watch it. Obviously, Home on the Range, I would definitely not go back and watch. Raya and the Last Dragon.
Oh, wow.
Controversial. Interesting.
Yeah.
Frozen 2, do not care about. I do not like that movie.
I take Raya over Frozen 2 any day.
Brother Bear, not a big...
That was the one I was going to call out, is because that one to me is like, it happened so much later than Pocahontas. Correct me if I'm wrong.
About 5 years later, I think.
And it's just like they learned nothing and all about the creation of Brother Bear, and the music they used was wrong. And like, it just feels like a lot of appropriation.
Was Nicolas Cage? Oh, Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah,
was the actor.
Yeah, that one is one actually where I have like... where I had really strong nostalgia for it, and I used to love that movie, but now coming to it now, I was like, oh no.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I feel like there's some of the more recent Pixar ones I don't particularly care for. Strange World.
That's Disney, isn't it?
That was Disney.
Or sorry, that's Disney. Don't care for it.
Wish.
I love Wish. Wish. Oh man, Wish could give Home on the Range a run for its money.
Oh, I mean,
no, Home on the Range.
Home on the Range is way worse, but like, Wish is not good for sure.
I would say both. bottom 5.
Yeah. Moana 2 would be down there.
There's
There
no
it
way
is.
it could be. I mean, like,
There it
sorry,
is.
I shouldn't say there's no way, but like, if you think about this, I feel like the bottom 5 is like the 6, the Saludos,
Oh.
Amigos, 3.
They-
Okay, well, I'm
They
not
count
even.
as
I'm not
one.
counting those in my head.
Yeah, those
Count
are-
as
yeah.
a single one.
Sure.
Yeah.
I feel like I almost don't necessarily think about those as part of the feature films, even though it's like technically feature releases, because they're more like feature. It's like a short compilation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that they released in theaters. So I exclude that in favor of burying Home on the Range.
And, you know,
Putting it out to pasture.
as much as we
Yeah.
as much as we like, you know, poo-poo the 6 movies and stuff, like the technology behind those movies was like game changing in a lot of ways. The way they used rotoscoping, the way they like had Donald Duck like interact with like humans and stuff, and like all like it was
dancer.
interesting on an academic level. Where Wish is like, God, it's just like someone
Which is everything
Jerking
wrong with
off.
Disney now.
they put a script through an AI machine and was like, yep, good enough, good enough.
A few last ones as I
Brad's
think
like,
of
I'm not done
more.
being a hater yet.
Get it out of here, get it out of here.
All the respect for the beginning of Disney, but Snow White, Pocahontas, Dumbo. I'm gonna leave Bambi out because I do actually like Bambi. But those 3 movies, like, I don't really need, like, I don't need to go back and rewatch them. I've also seen them a bunch. I would rewatch them, but I don't want to.
When you say
Like, I wouldn't-
Pocahontas, did you mean Pinocchio?
Sorry, yes, I did.
Okay,
Thank you.
gotcha.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah,
Okay,
sorry.
yeah.
The,
Fair.
like,
No, that's
I skipped over Fantasia because Fantasia is
Cool.
classic,
special.
it's cool.
very cool. But yeah, Snow White, Pinocchio, thank you, and Dumbo. Especially having rewatched them now recently with, well, I guess 5 years ago with all of you. I don't feel like I need to rewatch them. I'm kind of
Yeah.
like, I'm done with those. Like they can live in the past now, and I respect you, and I'll put you over there. Put you in a little box over there.
I'd like to add
I
2
would agree.
others to your box, Brad.
Oh, please do.
We
Plenty of room in it.
can't let anything like Lightyear happen ever again.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Lightyear.
Oh my
need to make
God.
sure.
Yeah.
And
you.
we're already kind of seeing it with Mufasa, but
Yeah.
I mean we haven't
That's a
done Disney
livey.
liveys.
Hey, I heard Mufasa's okay.
But
No one said Lightyear was okay. Everyone said Lightyear was like, oh, this is what we wanted.
it's just it's a huge box that they could potentially open when you look at the format of Lightyear. We need to make sure it doesn't happen.
I did hear that Mufasa does end up seeing a future version of himself in the live action version where the future version's evil and there's time travel. And this is just the plot of Lightyear that I'm saying right now.
I'm so confused.
I was like, what is happening?
And the other one I'm going to put in that box, and I'm not saying that this is a bad movie, but I just have to say that no one ever needs to watch it again, is The Fox and the Hound.
Oh, but it's.
I was
I
just looking at that one.
It would make my heart be so much more at peace if that movie never existed.
You know what, though? I think Fox and the Hound, I know, you know, I really like Fox and the Hound, but it's
I forgot about
crushingly
Laura's
sad.
hate for this.
It's
She doesn't hate it. I think it's just too sad for her.
It's too sad.
But
We're gonna be friends forever.
That's Brad's impression. That's his Disney impression that we were missing at the top of the show. I was gonna say Fox and the Hound's a good litmus test for people, though. If you don't feel anything from Fox and the Hound, then I don't know if you have emotions.
Yeah, people say that about Bambi, but I think it's actually Fox and the Hound that cuts deeper.
If you're giving away your pet to the wilderness, like that's
Fox
fine.
and the Hound cuts deeper for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, deeper than getting your father or your mother killed.
I mean, Bambi is devastating, but the worst of it happens off screen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whereas we have to watch this fox be abandoned
Yeah.
to music.
Unlike Hunchback, where the
saddest
worst of it
song.
happens on screen.
Oh yeah.
That's,
Oh geez.
that's another one. I'm not a fan of Hunchback. Some dope songs in there.
Hellfire, man,
Some great
Hellfire.
songs.
That song's
Yeah.
messed
Hellfire's
up.
Out Out There's good.
Out there.
yeah.
Not
God
not
Help
really
the
another one I
Outcasts.
need to go back and watch.
No.
Yeah.
But the soundtrack's worth another listen.
Oh, guys, what about Disney's I forgot we watched this one completely. Dinosaur.
I like Dinosaur.
Yeah.
I remembered it.
I remember thinking
The
it was-
movie that's just a journey. They're
It's
just
the
walking
most,
somewhere.
It's the most dirt-colored movie of all time.
The most gray.
Yeah, yeah. It was like shot live action with CG
Yeah.
in it.
It's like chicken with no salt. It's just bland.
What's the dinosaur movie? Is a good dinosaur? Is that the
Yeah.
one where it has
Yeah.
the cowboy or the?
They're like cartoon
that's Good
dinosaurs
Dinosaur.
in a real world in Good Dinosaur.
yeah, but they're like riding.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Yeah.
T-Rexes are like
Yeah, that's Good
galloping?
Dinosaur. Yeah.
That's a highlight.
That's ridiculous. All right.
Aladar fucks though.
No, not Alligar.
All right. I think I want to move on now to if we have any moments that we want to shout out from the show. I don't have anything too much for this segment, but Sam, you said you wrote something down earlier for any memorable moments of the show, and I didn't know if you had any more.
I already. That was the only one was that I was appalled that you guys didn't like Rescuers. That was like my main moment where I was like flabbergasted and just didn't expect to be right. And Brad wasn't even with me on that one because I feel like he would have backed me up. So it's just me against you two. And I was like, what are you guys talking about? Amazing.
That's how I felt every time Beauty and the Beast versus Lion King came up.
But we like those movies. We
Three
like
on
both those
one.
movies. I was going to
Three
say
on one.
a memorable moment was for me when the crossover Disney and Ranked episodes where we talked about best
Yeah.
Disney movies and like best Disney songs. I thought
Yeah.
were like really good discussions, even though Laura, you got really upset about the outcome. But I think we made good lists those times. So.
I mean,
That's
I
one of
think
my
it
hot
was-
takes.
I think it was like the combo of being shut down for both Beauty and the Beast and Bambi that just it stung. It stung, guys.
Save your hot takes, Brad. But I know you just said you had one.
Can't wait.
Anything else before we move on to the next thing, Brad?
Yeah, I was just gonna say the talking about like Disney World.
Oh,
yeah.
yes. Thank you for bringing that
Podcast.
up. Yeah.
What do we
Yeah,
call
that was
those
a fun
episodes?
one.
Disney adults?
No, I think it was like Disney Vacation or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was such fun.
That was fun just to like reminisce about because that was such a good trip. I know we didn't go together on that one, but I know Sam and I
Felt like
had
we
a
did.
great time. I got a lightsaber there. That was
You did.
cool.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I really wanted
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
And I feel like Sam and I were just talking about the trip again the other day, but like going with her friends that like go every year. And so
Yeah.
like I didn't look up anything and they just took us around. And so I'd be like, I don't know what this ride is. And like I felt the magic because it's not like I read beforehand. It was like, oh, we should go to this ride because blah, blah, blah. It was just like, lead me where you
Everything
want
was
to
a
go. And
surprise.
yeah. And then
That's
chatting
fun.
with the two of you about it all and hearing your experience. That was a memorable one.
Learning about Disney bounding.
Those
and all that
dual
stuff.
whips,
Yeah,
chicken and waffles, avocado margarita,
it's so insane to
tongue
me.
dropping his enchilada.
It's so insane to me that we went on this Disney vacation. How long ago was that? 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
2.5 years ago.
Something
almost.
like that. And I feel like Disney since then as Disney World specifically, has changed so much since then, right? Like they have a new fast pass system and
Prices have tripled.
again, they're already expensive. New rides have opened up, all these things. They've changed Splash Mountain.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
For the
the
better, it
Guardians
sounds like.
or the Guardians of the Galaxy ride wasn't open yet. It was like
Yeah.
it was almost. I think it was like
Yeah,
I don't
almost.
know, a month after we were there or something that it
Yeah.
was opening up.
And the Tron one in Tomorrowland.
Yeah, we didn't get to do that one. Yeah, though I think the side ones were always really memorable.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy the ones where Laura just like really out of nowhere dislikes a movie. Those were always fun.
Every now and then.
You mean
Where
Turning
it's just
Red?
like it was literally this one moment, and I decided I don't like this movie,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to listen.
Turning Red comes to mind, even though she fought for Turning Red a lot on the.
It is an excellent film. I just can't emotionally tolerate it.
Yeah, but you fought for it on the top 5 Disney films episode.
Pixar films.
Pixar films.
Yeah, because
sorry,
it belonged
thank
in
you.
the top 5. It's a great movie. Just not for me.
I want to go into the very dedicated part of. Okay, so let me back it up here. Every single episode since episode 1 of Disney Dummies, this came as a bit, and the bit just kept going every single
The best
episode.
bits do.
And it's the bit that I think has alienated Laura and Sam from promoting the show. Which is unfortunate.
Or promoting it.
That's
with
not true,
with a
actually.
caveat.
It's Disney. It's just Disney that's alienated me.
Sure, but I remember specifically, and I'm talking about the Who Fuck segment,
Yes.
everyone. In the very first episode of Disney Dummies, I don't know. I feel like Sam and I and our group of friends, we're just always talking about who fucks and a thing. It's just, I don't know. There's something wrong with us. But Disney, like, we're just like, oh yeah, I don't know. I forget who in Snow White fucks, but it's one of these dwarfs fuck, I guess. And then it was so funny when we said it that we're like, I don't know, every episode since then, I don't think we've ever missed a Who Fuck segment.
There's been movies where
We
I
force
feel like
it.
there's at least one where like nobody fucks in this movie.
Yeah.
I think anytime that happens, we are like, well, maybe the sword fucks in
Yeah.
Black Cauldron.
There was,
Right, yeah.
Well, the gremlin
in
does.
Cars tongue gave it to that asphalt
Oh,
Betsy or something.
Betsy, yeah.
There's definitely been forced fucking. Ugh.
Yeah, you were like, I guess. Like,
Let's
if we
not
gotta
call
give
it
it to
that,
something.
yeah.
But it's the segment of the show that I feel like, well, it's funny because this is a Disney podcast. I was explaining this to a colleague of mine today. It's like, yeah, it's a Disney podcast, but it's not for children, that's
Yeah.
for sure. But it's not like we're so gross about how we talk about things, but it is unfiltered. And it just so happens that when we're unfiltered, A, we swear, and B, we talk about who fucks. And that's just what happens. So
Yep.
I wanted to dedicate this part of the show to the very near and dear segment, one of my favorite segments of this show, Who Fucks. And the Who Fucks segment has always just kind of
Yeah.
floated around. It was never an official part of the show. Like when I gave like tasks to like Laura, Sam, and Brad, like what are you in charge of? Nobody was ever in charge of Who Fucks. But when you watch a movie, you just know. And now I want to put a spotlight once again on the characters who fuck.
Yeah.
And we've watched many, 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 many movies together through, Disney Pixar shorts and homies and all that stuff. So which characters stand out to you? Sam.
okay.
Yeah, hand up immediately.
Sam was I told you Sam was waiting for this.
I was. The Australian mouse in
Jake.
Rescuers 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he stands out because it's just so clear immediately that this character fucks.
Yeah.
I don't know what's so hot about him. I feel like
because his shirt's undone a little bit.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like he was one of the first instances that we came across where it was like a really like, yeah, I don't know.
I think in the 90s.
I want to fuck this mouse. Like I feel like Tug's always quick to say like the Who Fuck segment isn't sexual, but this one is. Just to be clear.
It's true.
Just to be clear, we actually want to fuck the mouse. And then also like I drew a really sexy drawing of the mouse for this one. And then also when you guys did ranked top 5 rodents outside of Disney Dummies, I see he's the image you used for that at the pod cavern as well. So his fuckage transcends podcast.
Fuckery.
Friend of the show, Victoria Lulov, loves Jake the Mouse from Rescuers Undone.
Yeah.
Down Under, yeah.
That one comes to mind.
Nice.
Brad, any characters that come to mind for Who Fucks?
There's so many.
There is a lot.
I was skimming the movies here. I think one that stands out is Helga from Atlantis. Did she get a Wii U back in the day?
one's
Is she the
Helga?
mechanic?
No, she's the
Blonde Laura Croft.
the blonde Laura Croft lady.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I don't know if we shouted out
I-
Helga.
I
feel
think
like-
we probably did. This one?
She's pretty awesome. Yeah.
She is.
Tug's like, yeah.
Yeah,
We had to.
We knew that. Hey, this one's a bit more sexual. Again, the Who Fuck segment isn't always
No, she's a badass. She like takes out the bad guy.
Yeah.
She's ripping around. I would also say Cinderella. Yeah, Cinderella 3, Prince Charming. When he's at the end where he launches off the horse and like swings through the
Oh, yeah.
sailboat and
Purpose.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, does Prince Charming fuck?
Oh my gosh.
Incredible.
Just a moment in my head of like memories, and this one was so recent, but because we've mentioned how we don't talk during these casts with each other when we're watching the movies or whatever. But in Prince of Thieves, as soon as Kasim was on the screen, and Brad and I just looked at each other like no words
Kasim was a
spoken, but we
late
both
entry,
knew.
yeah.
King of
Yeah.
Thieves, but yes.
Yes, sorry, but we knew in that moment. He obviously fucked.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's hot.
Yeah.
Laura, anything for you?
I have to keep coming back to a classic one again and again who everyone is in agreement that this character fucks, but I also think that he's such a great example of who fucks for our time. Steal from the rich, give to the poor. It's Robin Hood, you know?
He's a sexy fox.
I'm trying to think
That
of
is a classic.
who is the Robin Hood of our time? And I kept thinking about the GameStop short. I'm like, I feel like the people who shorted GameStop are like the Robin Hood of our time. You know what I mean?
But they're not like
Yeah.
But they don't have his sexual energy. But I also think Robin Hood is he covers all the bases when it comes to who fucks, it being a non-sexual designation while also being a designation that can be sexual if they wanted to.
Yeah.
A la Jake from Australia.
Funnily, you bring up Robin Hood and GameStop because the investing company that was embroiled in that was called Robin Hood.
No way. That's so funny. What a coincidence.
the Robin Hood cartoon character, though. He just has so much charisma that they were somehow able to draw it. It's like his smug face. Foxes lend themselves well for that kind of slyness.
He's also always calm, which is a very appealing quality.
He's just cool. He's just cool. Any other character? I have a little bit of a list, but
Rattle them off, Tongue.
okay, I'll rattle a few off, and you guys can.
Kovu. Sorry.
Yes, thank you.
I assume the Tramp's in there from Lady and the Tramp.
Oh, I did not write that, but if whatever floats
Put him
your
on the
boat,
list.
Brad.
Brad,
I mean, he's a
coming out
tramp.
with the deep cuts.
I'm going back to Betsy from Cars. Okay, I wrote Kovu, of course. Dodger from Oliver and Company.
yeah.
That's a cool dog. Miss Bianca, from Rescuers.
I was thinking about that one.
I'm Wally fucks for me. Just a
Yep.
cool
Yep.
dude. Robin Hood, Nala. We've always
Nala,
talked
I
about
was
how
waiting for
Nala is like
You know the face, everybody.
everybody knows the face.
Yeah.
For Sam, Milo Thatch.
Yeah.
For me and Sam, I guess, Megara. Mulan has always fucked for me. And Powerline from the Goofy
Oh,
movie.
yeah. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else before we close this up?
Your
Your. Okay, sure, Brad.
Sam's reaction is speaking volumes right now. Sam and Brad are going to have a talk later.
the eagle animation from the beginning of the Rescuers Down Under.
No, I just, I'm shivering. Oh,
Mrs. Incredible.
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
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 Aunt Cass.
If it wasn't for this podcast, I wouldn't have gone on a deep Google search of Aunt Cass and then being horrified, but also it was the Zootopia one with Nick Wilde and Judy Hopps. That was wild. There was the fan story. It was a fan story of them getting an abortion or something like that. Or it's fucked up.
It's a little.
Way to bring down the room, Tom.
I'm sorry. Zootopia 2 is coming out next year, this year.
Oh, great.
It's top of mind. It's top of mind. Any other characters who fuck before we close this up? Now's the time.
Not a character, but shout out Mary Blair again.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yes, Mary Blair does fuck. I would say, I think you said Mulan, but also Shang. I feel like they both fuck.
Oh, yeah. Let's get down to business.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you happen to know what the movie was with the highest fucks?
I don't have a count, but
Oh.
it is funny because I have all of my notes on iCloud Notes, and I typed in who fucks, those words.
700
And
notes came up.
There's so many notes that are just who fucks, who fucks. I wrote one for every single one of them. I won't read all of them. You can go back and listen to Disney
Yeah.
Dummies for that. But yeah, I don't know who has the highest fuck count. It's so fresh to me, but I feel like I Wii U'd all of the Goofy movie characters.
Yeah.
There was a lot of Wii U's in that one, yeah.
I even wrote down this, Saludos Amigos has Jose.
Oh, Jose.
Oh yeah.
What's his last name? Jose.
Super fucks.
Oh gosh.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Who
That's a
fucks
good
Triton's
one.
nipples?
Mm-hmm.
From Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm just typing some random ones.
I bet Little Mermaid has a high fuck count,
Yeah, I was
just in
thinking
general
that.
for characters. Because I like Ariel, like Eric, Triton, Ursula. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Grimsby. In his youth.
There's
Maybe
so
the
many
book version.
characters.
Yeah.
Who fucks the Disney books? No, I don't know. That was fun though. I did enjoy doing the Disney books, even though it's like a different type of podcast. But I don't know. It was fun going through that journey with Brad and then hearing Laura and Sam go through that journey as well. And okay, well, let's move on to if that's all the characters who fuck. Actually, I'm going to read you this. Okay, so I Googled just like who are the hottest Disney characters? Like what do people think? And I did this on my work computer. Oops. I forgot it was on the work computer. But someone wrote this and it made me laugh. Okay, they wrote a list of 5. King Richard from Robin Hood. Robin Hood
They don't understand.
from Robin Hood. Maid Marian from Robin Hood. Madam Cluck from Robin Hood.
Madam
and
Fuck
Little
is more
John
like it. Yeah.
from Robin Hood. And then the person underneath was like, I think you like Robin Hood. That made me laugh.
King Richard.
I feel like there's
Couldn't be more
so
wrong.
many more, and we
Yeah.
didn't even really touch on like a lot of the Pixar movies.
Yeah. Listeners,
But, yeah.
if you think we missed anyone big, email us at whofucks@podcavern.com.
And that will work, by the way. That will work. But like,
That's why I said it.
we do talk about who fucks in every episode. So even though we don't remember in this moment, go back because that content is still,
Worth a listen.
effervescent. So we're going to go into the next part of the show, which, you know what? I'm going to do a little bit of a 5-star, 1-star right now.
Oh,
It feels fitting to do a 5-star, 1-star.
okay.
And that's for this show, Disney Dummies. So
Do we have reviews?
we have reviews.
Are there 5-star and 1-star reviews?
Let me read you.
Okay.
A 5-star review. I'm not gonna put this person on blast. I look forward to every episode. The cast is funny, knows their stuff, and is so enthusiastic about these movies. Thanks for a great cast, dudes. 5 stars.
Oh, that's nice.
The next one, 1 star, which is actually a 5-star, but it reads like a 1 star, which is I accidentally said dick car dummies. 5 stars.
They did not spell accidentally right.
Yeah.
I also like that the title of that review was good.
And that's 5-star, 1-star, which is a segment that we introduced, I think, for Home on the Range. That is one of my core memories of Home on the Range is that we came up with the 5-star, 1-star segment far too late in the show. That should have been from the very beginning of this show.
Especially because it's way more fun to look back at old reviews than it is to look at current reviews.
Exactly.
Yeah, that segment got more and more depressing the newer the movies were.
I know. And especially as, let's say, quote unquote, progressive as some of the movies went, they're like, I don't like this character because of their skin color. And it's like, ugh. But like those early movies for like 1 star, they were like genuinely hilarious. So, okay. Well, I kind of want to go right into hot takes then for our final time. So let's do it. We're going to talk about hot takes.
Hot takes.
Hot takes. Brought to you by anybody?
The dying embers of this podcast.
Oh no.
No?
What is a fiery thing? What's another?
The elemental lady.
Oh, okay.
Who's that? Oh, Ember.
Oh, her name's
Ember.
Triton's nipples.
Triton's nipples. That's good.
Titan's nipples.
I'm thinking immediately of the CG fire from Lion King 2 for some reason.
I was just gonna say, even though it made no sense, fire in the Pride Lands.
The fire that lights the black cauldron.
Okay. All right.
Oh, the big one in Bambi.
Maleficent's flame throwing
Yeah.
dragon fire.
Oh, that's cool. That's a good one.
Yep.
Any others?
Hellfire.
Ooh, that's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hades when he gets mad.
Yeah.
Oh,
His hairline.
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any more before we
Zeus's lightning bolts.
Zeus's lightning bolts. Okay. Did we get them all?
I think that's
Eeyore.
mostly it.
Brad really wants to talk about Eeyore, which is my first hot take. So I think Brad has a thing for Eeyore.
We just have very similar personalities.
Can I start?
Yes, please.
For my first hot take, I would like to introduce a new segment inspired by Who Fucks. I would like to introduce a segment called Fuck 'em.
Okay.
Oh.
And so I have a few people that I'd like to say fuck 'em to, who we've learned about throughout the history of this podcast.
Yes.
So
I
first
think
of
I
all,
know a few of them.
Jeffrey Katzenberg.
Yep. That's all I know.
That was the top of my list. I was like,
He's the top of the fuck 'em list.
All together now?
Fuck 'em.
Fuck 'em.
fuck him.
'em.
Yeah. John Lasseter.
Fuck him.
Yeah,
Fuck
fuck
'em.
'em.
And I'm sorry, Bob, but you brought this upon yourself. Bob Iger. Fuck
Fuck
'em.
'em. Fuck
Nobody
'em.
needs to be paying that much to go to Disney World.
It's ridiculous.
You're crushing family dreams.
Yeah.
Fuck
Yeah.
him.
Fuck them. Anyone else? I like this segment.
Yeah.
Why did you
Yeah.
introduce it so late?
Well, because it's really it's not film specific.
You're right. You're
So
right.
it just felt like more appropriate.
Okay.
Can I make it film specific?
Sure.
Sure. Eeyore's.
Cars 2,
Oh, yeah.
which dovetails into John Lasseter. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that falls under John Lasseter.
Cars 2 is so bad, everyone. It's so bad.
Yeah.
That's a do not revisit
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
The Mater show. You remember Mater got knighted by the Queen?
That was a straight to DVD sequel if I ever
Oh
saw
my
one.
gosh.
I would
And
rather
then
watch the Disney
I would
homies.
have given it some leeway.
Yeah. I
Fair.
wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, I say that very generously.
Hot takes. Sam, Brad, any hot takes? Your final time to give some hot takes on this show. Let's hear it.
I got a potentially scalding hot take here, but that's why it's hot takes.
Get out your oven
Yeah,
mitts,
let's do
everyone.
it.
So I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I do like this movie. I do like it, but not as much as I think all three of you. I think Hercules is okay.
Wow.
Brad.
Yep. I said it.
Oh
That's why
my
it's hot takes.
gosh.
Brad, you just went from hero to zero.
Oh my gosh.
It's
Brad, I
it's
won't
good.
say I'm in love with this take.
Like the three of you seem to love that movie, but it's okay.
Next time I look to the sky, I will not say, huh, that's Sam's boy.
Brad, I don't think you can go the distance anymore.
I never
Wow.
could.
Sam,
Not with that movie.
How do you feel about this? Is this a shock to you?
I don't know. I don't feel that shocked.
Wow.
Somehow.
Wow.
I feel like I've said that.
But are you
Hercules
mad,
is-
Sam?
I wouldn't say I'm in love either.
Wow. Okay, that's a hot take. That's a hot take.
saving that.
Okay. Okay.
That
That's
took a lot.
But you know what? The product placement of Herc merch
Oh my
in that
gosh. Air
is
Hercs?
yeah.
Herculade?
It's doing a great cartoony thing, whereas now I feel like they do that to actually try and
Sell
sell
stuff?
merch. That's like all of Wish is the Air Hercs.
Ugh. It worked with Hercules. It didn't work in
Oh, you know what? Hot take, and this isn't even a hot take because we'd all agree, but I just feel like we haven't talked about this movie specifically yet tonight. But Disney should really do more just random comedies like Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Bring
love
back-
Wow,
Emperor's
we
New
haven't brought
Groove.
that up in this
Yeah, that
cast.
movie
I
didn't
brought up
come
Emperor's New
but-
Groove a
Oh,
little
did you? I
bit,
missed
but
it.
I totally agree because
So much fun.
when we were just talking about Goofy movie not too long ago, Emperor's New Groove falls in that vein of just like Emperor's New Groove's way more silly, but it's just like it's a movie that doesn't rely on current, the current status of the world jokes, it's just a movie that holds up because it's just funny and that's all it is.
Yeah.
And
It's not trying to be an epic. I feel like, and like, how's that working out for you, Disney? Hot take, you haven't fucking won an Oscar in years. Everyone's better than you now. Like, fucking switch it up already.
Watch
Like,
Flow.
Well, I think that was Luca, right? Like Luca was similar in a way to Emperor's New Groove with how it was like a bottle movie, like a bottle episode of a TV show. It was just kind of like out of place in their
A great
lineup,
story.
Yeah.
but a really good one. Yeah.
I once went on a date with a guy who told me his favorite Disney movie was Emperor's New Groove, and I immediately was like, red flag.
Was it me?
And no. And in hindsight, maybe I should have given him another chance.
Yeah.
But he also told me he didn't like food.
Oh, yeah.
So
What?
that was
What?
the bigger red flag.
Definitely not me.
That was the bigger red flag.
Yeah.
Here's a hot take.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that a hot take. I think everyone would agree with me. I think Brad would for sure agree with me on this, is that I think they need to make another Fantasia movie.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
know.
they
No, I
do.
would agree.
Like, we have, like, Fantasia 2000 was the last one we had. There's been 2 Fantasia movies. And I think it's such a cool opportunity to highlight, music again, like, give some love to people in orchestras and all that stuff. But Fantasia was awesome because there was so many different art styles going on to the music and telling very sonic stories. Like, it's just through the music and through these visuals that we get like some really trippy ass shit. And since Fantasia 2000, technology has skyrocketed. So like, what can be done now in a current Fantasia, a Fantasia 2025, would be so cool. They gotta go back to that. I
And
think.
we're like in a transitional period, I feel like, in animation right now in general. So
Yeah.
it would
We
be a
need
good
some
opportunity for them
experimentation.
to play around, like, and actually experiment, not the half-assed whatever Wish was thinking it was experimenting.
I want to see a Fantasia that's like set exclusively to late 90s, early 2000s soft rock songs. Like, like all the songs that they threw
Yeah.
into like Treasure Planet and Big Hero 6.
Yeah, I'm here
Atlanta.
for it.
Just like shorts to all of those songs.
So would this new Fantasia be like hand drawn, or are we talking CG or like a mix? Or
I think-
Whatever we want,
I
whatever
think
they want.
There's an opportunity to do all of it.
Let's let the animators decide.
Yeah.
Rise up,
'Cause I feel like-
animators.
I feel like that was like the interesting thing when they were making them, was that it was really pushing the hand drawn side of things and like what you could do skill wise. Whereas now with like computers, because I've thought about whether or not they could do another Fantasia, and I think Spider-Verse has kind of opened up that door for like creativity again. But pre that, I was like, well, what are they going to do? Like run a cool simulation of smoke? Like, I don't know, like what is there artistically that they can push and be like,
Yeah.
this is like just pure talent on screen. So it makes me wonder if they would need to do hand drawn, because Sam and I went and saw that the WB movie,
Right.
the Daffy
They
Duck
did
one.
that.
Yeah, and that was very cool to see all the hand drawn stuff. I thought it was really spectacular. So like the skill is still there. And
I mean,
it'd be
I would
cool to
take a
see.
hand drawn Fantasia again. Why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
I just think
I think
there's
that'd be
probably, I don't know if there's a market for it per se, but like I do think it's a good time, like Sam just said, just to
yeah.
transitionary period. Like, why not just do it? I think it's way more interesting of a thing to do than like your next, like Zootopia 2. Like, I have no interest in seeing Zootopia 2.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I know we will at some point.
Instead, you want Fantasia 3.
Yeah, or it wouldn't be called Fantasia 3. It'd be like Fantasia.
2050.
Yeah. Any other hot takes?
I hate all the sequels, but I don't hate Toy Story sequels.
True. Cars 3 was okay.
Maybe not that hot. Cars 3 was the best Cars movie.
I mean, I'm not looking forward to Toy Story 5. And hot take, I didn't really like 4. So,
I think I probably liked For the Best of All of Us.
oh yeah, I remember you being a weird champion for that movie. I didn't see coming.
Oh, man.
Don't Toy Story shame Laura.
They don't have the
yeah,
internet.
sorry.
They're never going to see each other again.
Yeah, I think that's I remember liking Toy Story 4, and then we did the podcast and I liked it slightly less, but like I still enjoyed it. But it is like, because you made us say goodbye to the characters again,
Yeah.
and now knowing that Toy Story 5 is just around the corner, I'm just like, well, that definitely takes away from my enjoyment of Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
Which, why are they doing that? I mean, for Sam, her hot take, I'm sure, would be all sequels should be direct to home video. That's a classic.
I've been singing this for months.
It's more like a no one
Familiar
take.
tune.
Yeah, familiar take.
Laura, anything else?
Yeah, I think Alan Menken maybe got off a little too easy with the whole blue corn moon thing. Like, he just invented that and was like, yeah, it's probably something that they would have said.
Blue corn moon.
It's not. It's just a series of words he made up. And is it really that different than bringing in a Bulgarian choir to pretend to be like an indigenous singing group? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't forgive either of them.
I'm just saying. Lastly, I will spend the rest of my life reminding myself that the Black Cauldron exists. Every once in a while, I'm
Shots
just
fired
like,
a Black Cauldron tonight.
I just keep going, oh yeah, that was a thing we saw.
It's funny how Brad in this episode praised Black Cauldron and then in the same episode saying he will never watch it again.
I would say I praised it. I said it's not that bad.
That's
People
a
hate
cop.
on it.
It's not as bad as
People
Home on the
hate on
Range.
it.
I was not expecting anyone to bring up Black Cauldron tonight, so that's already like a bit of a surprise.
Hot take, I'd like to continue pirating your movies until you prove to me that you care again, Disney.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? Yeah, you don't want to see Moana 2 on the big screen? Moana 3 on the big
Absolutely
screen?
not. No.
Sigh.
You know what's another one I don't need to see again? Peter Pan. I don't really care.
Oh, but it's some of Mary's best work. I want to see
Yeah.
it again, but I don't want to
Peter's really
watch
creepy.
it again.
My hot take about Peter Pan is I don't need to go on the Disney World ride again, even though Laura loves the Disney World ride of Peter
The
Pan.
moment where you go from being on the ground to being in the sky,
I mean, kind of cool, but it's not worth a 3-hour wait.
but you get to play that Tinkerbell shadow game in line.
That's true. Before we wrap up hot takes and getting towards the end of the show here, there's a few things I want to go through, which is that I did a bit of math. And when I say did a bit of math, I just typed it into Google and generated some stuff. But like, it's not an exact science that I have here or exact math. But roughly, we watched between Disney Dummies and Pixar Pals and Disney Homies, not counting Pixar Shorties, 130 hours of content for this show, which amounts to 5.4 days of content, which I think is just insane. If you think about it.
And it spent about half of that talking about it. Or double that.
Yeah, sometimes
Spent
our-
about double that talking about it.
Yeah.
sometimes a lot of the times our discussion was longer than the movie
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah. About like 7 of those hours was just about Luca.
Luca.
And about like
And we still haven't said enough about Luca.
no.
Will we ever?
And one of those 5.4 days has to count for just us talking about who fucks.
Yeah.
It's actually, yeah, fair.
Yeah, but yeah, 5.4 days. I thought that was just super interesting and
Cool.
yeah. All right. Well, I think with that, we'll wrap up the hot take section. Pour some of that. What's the Wade from Elemental?
Some way.
Some Wade.
Pour some weight on you.
Pour some Wade from Elemental onto the hot take section and cool it off for a little bit.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Water.
What other water thing do you get?
No, I just didn't know what you were trying
Olaf.
to say. Yeah.
Olaf.
Yeah.
Snow's water. What else? What else? Brad, name me a water character from Disney.
Triton's nipples.
The ocean from Moana.
Yeah.
Yeah, but doesn't beat Triton's nipples. So
And then, of course, Eeyore. Eeyore's tears.
well, make way for the final section of this show here, which is I just want to give everyone this an opportunity to just talk about their final thoughts about this show as a whole, their final thoughts about how they're feeling about this show going on hiatus. I keep saying it's ending, but it's going on like a pretty large hiatus for now. We don't really exactly know, I'll be honest, but
June 20th, Elio comes out.
yeah, we do. I guess I'll go through some like logistics right now, but like we do plan on continuing the show, maybe not at the same cadence while the baby is here, but once we get our footing again, I do believe we will try to continue to make content. And if we don't, usually when like a new movie comes out, we're pretty on the ball with getting that episode out close to when it comes to theaters, but who knows? We might let some episodes stockpile a little bit. And of course, at one point, like we've been talking about this a lot, we'd love to do DreamWorks Dummies. That'd be very cool, even if it's just a select handful of them. And then I know Sam wants to do like some fan fiction stuff. Maybe Disney, maybe we'll experiment with that. Maybe another Disney book club. But
Zootopia fanfic.
oh God. But I want to, shine a spotlight specifically on just reminiscing one more time about this show as a whole. And does anybody want to go? Should I pass it to someone? I'll pass it to you. I'm going to pass it to Sam.
All right. this has been a very fun experience, but I do think that is, as Tung kind of mentioned, is just we like talking about movies with our friends. So I don't give Disney any of the credit for any of this. But it has been really cool to go through it all, but it's also been a little disappointing to go through it all and watch what kind of used to be started out as a company with such artistic values and such strong talent and, aspiration for storytelling become this corporation that just cares about money and toys and getting people in their parks. And I don't know that I have faith in that really changing. Maybe that's pessimistic to say, but I think indie animation and smaller studios are the way to go for, good stories. I think Disney cares so much about its politics and everything else too that it's just too afraid to really do anything anymore. And, in the past with Pocahontas and stuff is funny because it's like arguably you should have been more like afraid to like do things or whatever. But it's just trying to cater to so many people, and you see that with all the live action shit too, where it's just like trying to write its own. And I haven't even got into the live action shit, but it's just, repackaging all these things that we just talked about how fun our memories are of them. And it's like they're all good on their own. People can go back and watch them like we just did and have a good time. You don't need to recreate these things shot for shot. It's insane. And it's like, I don't know, there's just no desire to tell any new bold stories anymore. And I think that's very sad. So it's fun that we got to do this and appreciate the stories that they did do. And, I think revisiting those first like that decades worth of films was really, really cool. And then it only became like a bit of a bummer situation when we hit the new ones, like Moana 2, where I was like, I don't even want to give them money anymore. Like I'm at a point where like I don't want to promote this. I don't want to give them money. Like I actually dislike them very, very much, very strongly. So yeah, it's been such a weird ride in that regard, but it is always fun. I don't know. I think going back on the old stuff, even when we switched to homies at the end was really fun. Cause again, it's just like going back and seeing old things is a gift, and it's the newer stuff that's tainted. So that's my final thoughts on Disney.
Thank you, Sam. Brad, anything that you want to add to your time at Disney Dummies and Disney as a whole?
Wow, I got to follow that up. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
You do.
I agree with what Sam said. Going back and rewatching the old stuff, it does make me wonder if like the kids coming up on today's movies, like 30 years from now, will rewatch Lightyear and just be like, oh man, it's so good, right?
Oh
Like
God.
all that kind of shit. And because I do think there's much like being in Disney World, like there is a magic in the air that they're really good at creating. And I feel like their early movies, good or bad, have that kind of magic. And I think that's like the artistry behind it. Like I feel like there's no discounting's the wrong word, but it's like a lot of the charm I feel like starts getting lost once they enter CG. Like their first few movies have some nice charm when things are kind of like janky looking and not that clean, but then they kind of like they get their feet under them around Tangled, and like Tangled's really good. But after that, a lot of their movies kind of just, to me, start losing the charm. The story's sometimes there. Like I enjoyed Zootopia or first Frozen or Wreck-It Ralph, or the first Moana. Definitely not the second. But I still think it's kind of like lacking the charm of like 101 Dalmatians or Cinderella or Bambi. They're not going through like large artistic leaps of faith with their movies anymore, which is what Sam was saying. Whereas like their first 20, 40 years, 50 years, longer than that, like every movie has a distinct style. Like Aristocats feels different to Sleeping Beauty, feels different to Black Cauldron, feels different to Lion King. Like all these movies have their distinct aesthetic that you can pick out very quickly. Whereas a lot of their newer movies, they think they're doing unique things every time, like with Wish, but it just looks the same. Like it doesn't really look any different at all. So it's a little disappointing. But I think when I look back on my time, which has been shorter on Disney Dummies, like we've said, I've been here the whole time watching it. I feel like I look more just like how all of our lives have changed over the show, not necessarily about the movies. Like I've enjoyed going back because obviously like being in animation, I adore all these movies, good or bad. I know I pointed out a bunch of like ones I don't like, but I appreciate them all because this is the industry I'm in and I love the art behind them. But I think more about, the beginning of COVID and then Sam and I buying a house and getting married, you guys getting married and now having a kid and like this always being in the background every like 2-3 weeks or whatever it is that we watch a movie. And it's nice to sit down and watch just like a fun cartoon versus like, I don't know, like a David Fincher movie, like Seven or something, which I love, but like that's not a every other week type of movie for me. So yeah, it's been nice just to kind of like get that little bit of childhood back while watching all these movies.
Yeah.
And then I do like more recently just being able to bitch about the movies and like how they've lost their soul, and Pixar as well. Like their new movies are like pretty meh, and but then you've got other studios that are coming up, and like
That's why DreamWorks Dummies.
yeah, there's a bunch of the Fern Gully. Maybe we could watch Fern Gully. Put that on the list.
Oh, yeah.
But what was that? Flow? Like we watched Flow from
So good.
that Latvian.
So good.
Yeah.
Like that was super cool and so unique. Like again, that's got a style that the early
Yeah.
Disney movies had. And I would say Pixar, as much as they didn't necessarily have like a unique style every movie, they had like the Pixar style because
Yeah.
they were the only ones that could do it that good.
Mm-hmm.
And that was their style. It changed obviously a little bit, but for the most part, it was like that was Pixar. And then like Disney caught up, DreamWorks caught up, and then it was kind of like, well, it all just kind of feels somewhat the same now.
Yeah.
But that's why I brought up like Spider-Verse or Puss in Boots, like all these movies that are Flow that are now coming out, and I feel like they're bringing the art back into CG.
Animation.
So yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you, Brad. I loved all of that. Laura, how about yourself?
Yeah. I think Sam captured a lot of the stuff that I've been thinking about this cast about, like our complicated relationships with Disney as a corporation, and the fact that like we all grew up with so many of these films, and we have such fondness for them. At the same time, I think there's also like, oh, maybe watching all of those happy ending princess movies like was kind of damaging. But still like having a love and an appreciation for them, but now looking at it through a different lens of like all of the like stereotypes that many of these movies were perpetuating without us realizing, and seeing a lot more visibly the shift towards capitalism that like we wouldn't have cared about as kids, even if we did understand it. And it really like impacting our relationship with the company and like with the things that they're creating, to the point of like not wanting to financially support them in many ways these days. But I think like Disney at its best could bring people together in a way that like the only other example that I could think of was like the Eras Tour. Of like everyone's just like so happy to be there and so happy to like connect with other people, and you just like witness this magic and then make eye contact with a stranger and you're like, wow, you saw that too. Like that's so cool. And the fact that they were able to do that by experimenting so much in the early days is something that like, yeah, I do have hope in the like great circle of life that we will
Nice.
return to that at some point. But I think for me, like the one positive takeaway that I think it will be hard to ever erase from Disney's impact and from our podcast is like the way these movies and books and theme parks and whatever it may be like can bring people together. And I'm sitting here with a Mickey Mouse stuffy that I bought like almost 15 years ago and gave to my boss when she was pregnant with her first baby. And she gave it back to me a couple of weeks ago as we're like having our first baby. And it's kind of crazy to think about like how our roles as Disney fans are changing, and like how we're about to enter this new era of and like new experience with Disney as we maybe bring some of these movies and other like beloved Disney products into the lives of our child. Or maybe we'll have a whole ban on anything Disney related. We'll see how that goes. and finally, like how the podcast has brought us together. Because I think, like, Sam, you and I knew each other, but I don't think we knew each other very well at all. Like, you were very much Tung's friend, and
Still is.
And yeah, but like I got an invite to Sam's bachelor party and you didn't.
That's true. I didn't. Yeah.
And Brad, like both of us knew even less, and now you two like are such important friends in our lives, and like we've been on vacation together, not to Disney World yet, but someday, and we've been to each other's weddings, and you're going to be there in our kid's life as he grows up, and it's kind of awesome that the last 5 years have played such a big role. This podcast has played such a big role in that friendship.
And can't wait for you guys to meet Kovula.
Yeah.
Beautifully said, Laura.
I before you get into yours, Tongue, I did think of another Who Fox.
Yep. That's what you got from Laura's
I really
speech
said something
there.
off in Brad.
Yeah, the whole time I was like, but I missed somebody that fox.
Yes, please,
And
you
that'd
have
be
to.
Kerchak.
Clayton.
Clayton.
And just the animation of Tarzan sliding
Tarzan.
down freaking vines
Collins.
and trees and Phil
We
Collins.
didn't even talk about Tarzan. I was skimming the movies and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, fuck, Tarzan. So good.
Yeah, I would fuck Tarzan.
And Phil Collins. It's hard to put into words exactly what my feelings about Disney Dummies as a whole is. A lot of you already captured that, and maybe I'll just repeat some of it. I'll start with just Disney as a whole. I think I'm out of this group. I just lean towards optimism when I can, because, I want to believe in good stuff. And I think in a time right now with Disney, it is very difficult because of the things that we mentioned, the corporate greed, and just like, even just like what the appetite of what the audience wants. Like, we blame Disney a lot, and we should, for a lot of these decisions of why sequels are being made. But like, when an original movie does come out, people aren't showing up for it. And that's a problem on the audience, I think. And that sucks when, like, I'm probably going to guess, and I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong, that Elio is not going to do a good box office number weekend, I think. I feel like they're like, what's Elio? I don't know. So I'm going to stay home. And like, I was even looking at as early as today, like when I was on social media, and they showed me like a list of all the Pixar movies coming out: Coco 2, Incredibles 3, Toy Story 5. There was like one original called Hopper.
There's an original? That's not Zootopia 2 about Judy Hopps, is it?
No, it's like about like this body switching thing, or if you can talk to animals or something like that.
Oh, Sam's favorite,
And
body
it
swap.
comes out. I'm not sure if it's body swap, but it's at least if you can talk to animals, that kind of thing. And it comes out next year. I have heard nothing from it or nothing about it. And that's the problem, is in the comments, they're just like, well, I'm looking forward to Incredibles 3 and Toy Story 5. Yeah. And I think I don't know what's wrong with the audience. I don't want to keep
the general public
right now, but there is a lot of complaint of there's no original content, and then original content happens and we just don't come to it.
Yeah.
And that sucks. So yes, a lot is on Disney, but a lot is on us too. And I think if we can just promote the original content that is good, then that's the best we can hope for with Disney.
Robbie Williams.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
There it is.
Better man.
Better man.
Yay.
Better man.
And that goes for like Pixar too. Disney and Pixar, I mean, they're one company now, but we want to see better from them, and we have. And the complicated emotion I have from Disney as a whole is that, we touched upon this already, is that like, we just can't get around it. Like, it touched our lives. It did. It transformed who we are today. These stories I still hold near and dear to my heart, like Mulan and Lion King and Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast. Like, it's just so part of me, and I love those stories to death. And yet it's so, I just grapple every day being like, but Disney's just not the same company it used to be. But these good parts of Disney are the parts that I would love for our kid to like. That's what I keep thinking about. It's like, I want our kid to watch these good stuff and not Coco Melon or like, or like
Coco, yes. Coco Melon, fuck no.
Yeah.
I think that good movies still exist and they are still good, and it'll be exciting to show those to your kids. But I think what I also hope for the children, that I've heard my friends say before, was like, I hope that they get their own good movies. And much like Laura or someone said, like, are we going to be excited about Lightyear? maybe not. And that's depressing that you don't
Yeah.
have your own cool original stories that you get to be nostalgic about one day because all yours sucked.
But they won't think it sucked because, like, I don't know, let's say Return of Jafar is someone else's Moana 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, Tom, you and I were excited to see or rewatch those based on our memory.
Yeah. And like they're still good to a point, but it's because of nostalgia. And when you do look on social media, I hate bringing up Moana 2 every episode, but like people like that movie, as crazy as it is, and that we obviously disagree with. Like people are like, yeah, Moana 2 rules, and it's like, well, you're the problem. But like,
Yeah.
it's just.
But I do think a lot of these movies are good. I mean, they are good to us because of nostalgia, but they are legitimately
Yeah.
good movies. Like
I
Lion
agree.
King isn't just good because we're nostalgia for it.
And I
It's
don't-
like a arguably good movie.
And I don't want to be like a movie snob about things. Maybe a
Yeah.
little am, but like I just think we have better taste than a lot of people.
Yeah, you're right.
So it's just it's difficult. But I do hope hopefully in the future we do see some better content from Disney. Like I would love to go to Disney World one more time without feeling bad about what I'm doing. You know, but if they keep gouging me, it's kind of hard to want to engage with that stuff. And that's kind of, I think, like as this podcast has gone on, it's been difficult to celebrate Disney in those ways. But I get like, this is why I like this podcast. I brought this up at the beginning, is that like, we take the work seriously. Like it sounds silly, but we do. We come in, we have thoughts ready, we have segments all prepared for. We're talking about the summary and in-depth detail. We're talking about the animation and what ticks and the industry as a whole. And we talk about all the good and ugly and bad about Disney movies that I think that we as a group are able to properly have an informed decision about Disney. Whatever our conclusion about Disney is right now, we've thought about it. We've talked about it. And we're not coming in blind with like, Disney is good because they're good, you know? And that's what I really enjoyed about this podcast, because like I'm the type of person who loves talking about movies, but also like getting into the weeds about it. And that's been like really a big joy for me in this podcast here, is talking with you all, because we all share the same kind of I don't know, love language of just discussing movies together, which I think is really fun. And then I'll just really quickly shout out, like Sam brought it up before, Sam's drawn artwork for 90% of this podcast, which has all been amazing.
Stunning.
Amazing stuff. So check it out on the Podcavern Instagram. She's done some really, really amazing stuff. Even if you Google some of these movies, Sam's drawings will show up on Google Images. I think that's really cool.
Also check out some
It's wild to
animation.
think I have art for like every film
Yeah.
almost. I'm
Yeah.
like, I've done a piece for like every
Almost everything, yeah.
Almost.
And then I always think about the ones that you're like, oh yeah, there's art this week, and then you'll draw like the potion from Emperor's New Groove.
Amazing.
But you still bring it
Pulled
in,
it out of the hat.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
And I'll think of like all the summaries Laura wrote, and like just all
Some of them with tongue over my shoulder being like, you said you'd have this to me yesterday.
I did, but like I said, we do take the work seriously, but never ourselves. That's the main thing, as you can tell. We're still like free spirited in our conversation, but I love a structure. I love being able to like properly put our thoughts in the right buckets and things like that. And I think the last thing I want to say, and it's already been said by everyone here, but like Laura especially just said, was just like, yeah, I don't think this friendship happens without Disney Dummies. I think that is such a cool thing. That is such a cool thing. Sam and I have known each other for years and years, and you know, we've done a lot of ranked episodes together, Podcavern episodes. Brad, we knew each other because of Sam, but like nothing has brought us together the way Disney Dummies has. You know what I mean? Like through the bad, through the good. We talk almost every day to each other through text, sending each other just random shit. And I think that's like just a beautiful thing about making a podcast with your friends and growing closer together. Like Sam and Brad are some of our closest friends right now. For now, until this podcast ends. No.
I was just gonna say, and thanks to Tongue for making this environment for us all to do this,
Bringing
'cause
us
it has
together.
been so fun. Yeah.
Thank you.
And giving us
And
a
I'm
reason
waiting
to revisit
for
all
this.
of these.
Yeah, I've been waiting this whole time for this podcast to wrap up so I can send you guys memes about Snow White.
And how it's bombing at the box office right now.
Guys,
Poor
it's got
Snow.
a 2 out of 10 on IMDb.
Shut up.
no.
Really? Is that true?
Most of the reviews I've seen have been like, you know what? It's not that bad. I was actually thinking in the week, so I have 1 week off before my due date. I was like, maybe I'll go see Snow White.
Maybe wait for streaming.
Get in one of those recliners, hunker down for a couple hours and see what happens. We'll see.
We'll see.
I'll keep you all posted.
But yeah, I would recommend for anyone out there just looking to just make a podcast with each other, you should do it. Because this podcast is well loved. We have fans out there. But, even though we're not the highest rated podcast in the world, the journey that you go through with these people that you're in the weeds with week to week, as long as you're consistent with it, is pretty awesome. I wouldn't trade that for the world. It was such a cool experience being okay, this week, okay, see you guys next week. We're watching this movie. I got to write the summary for this one. Everyone hated writing the summary. Though
summary was the worst.
Yeah.
Even though we did our best to be okay, this time it's a short summary, and then it got long again. But even through all of that, it was what a magical experience, and that's the Disney magic for you.
Truly a magic carpet ride.
Yeah.
I would say another fond memory is having to do the summary while in a movie theater.
Oh yeah,
that was
We've all done that
was
once
quite
now.
the experience.
My notebook, where it's just I'm not even writing in the lines.
Yeah,
I'm I
just
don't know where
writing
I
in the
am.
dark.
I'll just flip the page and keep writing.
Alternatively, not taking notes during Moana 2 and then having to relive it via memory afterwards and being like, fuck my life.
Laura,
One of the most impressive moments, truly.
Yeah.
I have to relive every single one of our conversations twice. I edit these things.
That's true.
And it
So
takes way longer to edit these things
you've
than the
seen
actual
Moana 2 like 4 times now.
But anyways, all that said, all that sappy stuff. Thank you everyone for joining us for Disney Dummies Cross
shout
Picture
out
Pals.
listeners.
It means obviously so much to us that you've listened to any of these episodes, and I hope you enjoyed them. And if you did, please leave us a review and send us an email at send us a review at whofucks@podcavern.com. That's what we decided on. That'll work.
That's it.
That'll work. But yeah, I can't believe we're signing ourselves off right now, but join us at some point. We will be back. This is our farewell episode, but we will be back at some point. But until next time, everyone, shall we, for the last time, sing ourselves out? Maybe Sam and Laura will nail it this time.
Do, 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 do. Ooh, wee.
See you later, everyone.
Oh, God.
Hey everyone, it's Tung. I just wanted to pop in one last time to thank you for listening to Disney Dummies Cross Pixar Pals. I would have never imagined when we first came up with this idea that this podcast would go on for this long, but it's just been such a joy for Brad, Sam, Laura, and I to chat bi-weekly about Disney movies from yesteryear and for current Disney movies, about all the fun facts, did you knows, long summaries, and of course Who Fucks, which I know was a big gap in Disney podcasts out there, so I'm glad we were able to fill that in, literally. Anyways, stay subscribed. We have more content on the way eventually, but until then, please like, review, and share with all your friends. That means so much to us when you do that. Or email us at whofucks@podcavern.com or whatever you want at podcavern.com. I'm sure it'll be sent to us anyways. Thank you for listening to this Podcavern production. There are so many great shows in the Podcavern network. It is a small network, but it is mighty, and it has incredible content and podcasts out there for you to listen to. So from Brad, Sam, Laura, and I, we're going to take a page out of the Toy Story book, like in Toy Story 3 when Woody says goodbye to Andy with all the rest of the toys. And then, guess what? Just like Toy Story, they're going to end up making a Toy Story 4, a 5, a 6, and so forth. And that's going to be us, you know? So you'll see us again. But until then, we're going to hop on our magic carpet ride and ride off to Disney World. And we'll meet you there. But not actual Disney World, because we can't afford that. So the metaphorical Disney World in our hearts. We'll meet you there.